Hello and welcome into Tech Daily, all of today's social media and technology news in 10 minutes or less. Today is Thursday, March 15th, 2012. Happy first day of the NCAA tournament, one of my favorite days of the year. But right now we're focused on tech. I'm your host, Jacob Bodner. Let's waste no time and get right into today's top tech and social media headlines. We'll start today with a big pickup for Google. Dig founder Kevin Rose, according to All Things D, they report that Kevin Rose has been hired by Google. This is according to sources close to the situation. Rose's mobile app incubator Milk, remember yesterday we talked about how they announced it was shutting down their only product, Oink, after 3 months of use, and now it looks like Kevin Rose is moving on to, well, Google. Google is not outright buying or acquiring Milk, according to the source, but Rose and some others from the company have been hired. It's not clear what will happen to Milk or Rose's other ventures, or especially after he joins Google. Google declined to comment, and Rose did not reply to multiple requests. Rose's first day at Google is to be this Monday, according to sources. So a big pickup for Google from a faculty standpoint, really. Rose is obviously a huge name. Oink was actually a successful app to begin with, and Milk was supposed to be this kind of app incubator, like I mentioned, the kind of this next generation app developing company, and certainly Kevin Rose with the name recognition to boot. Interesting thing to note here is we wonder where he's going to fit in at Google. A lot of people speculate that he will end up in the Google Plus division, obviously him being kind of a social media sort of a dude with Dig and all the like. So that's where most people think he'll end up, which would be big for Google Plus. Google Plus has kind of been fledging a little bit, looking to kind of pick up user base, and not only user base, but engagement. And maybe Kevin Rose can kind of bring some innovation and some ideas to the table here so Google Plus can maybe take off a little more than it is. In other big news today, PayPal has launched a competitor to Square. If you don't know what Square is the mobile credit card processing application where you can download it for your iPad, iPhone, whatever you want. You get the little Square card reader, you stick it in your headphone jack, you swipe cards. You can take credit card payments over your phone from anywhere in the country, and it's $2 it's 2.75% processing fee on all of those transactions. They recently announced they were doing $4 billion in transactions, and now PayPal has announced PayPal Here, which is much like Square in that you will have a card reader that plugs into your mobile phone via the headset jack on your handset. Square's reader obviously is Square. PayPal's will be a blue triangle. The encrypted reader will be available for free to small business owners and can be used to accept credit card payments. While the PayPal Here app is designed to be used hand in hand with the card reader, the app can also be used to accept checks, keep track of cash transaction, and accept credit card transactions in situations where you might not have your card reader present. So this is very interesting. For instance, you can take a picture of a credit card or take a picture of a check, and that's how you actually go about doing a check or credit card transaction when you don't have the reader present. PayPal Here will charge you 2.7% per transaction. That compares to the 2.75% that Square charges you. Each merchant that signs up for the service will also be given a PayPal debit card, which can be used to take out cash at ATMs around the world from the account after a transaction has been complete. PayPal, this is actually obviously owned by eBay, is obviously a big company and a company that has a lot of resources, things that they can do like offer a lower rate, the debit card stuff, kind of the technological innovation. They also can offer you security, kind of peace of mind. And it's not that people distrust Square, but when you see that PayPal emblem, which is displayed prominently on the card reader, and you know someone's taking your information via PayPal, it kind of gives you that sense of trust. So certainly the space in terms of mobile payment getting a little crowded today with PayPal. Also today, RIM, Research in Motion, confirmed that the BlackBerry Playbook, will get BlackBerry 10. So BlackBerry 10 is the next operating system for the mobile interface from Research in Motion, and we didn't know if the Playbook was going to get the upgrade. Playbook just received another major upgrade that actually offered things like native email into the interface. But speaking to Tech Radar, RIM Vice President of Project Management Rob Orr said, quote, "We've said publicly a number of times that our first BlackBerry 10 handset will be available towards the end of 2012, and that's still firmly the case. At some point after the launch, we'll bring BlackBerry 10 to Playbook, yes." So if you're one of the few BlackBerry owners out there, be excited. BlackBerry 10 will be coming to your device. Also confirmed today, we talked about earlier in an earlier episode that Nokia was going to be releasing a Windows tablet eventually, not right when Windows 8 came out, but soon after Windows 8 came out, and it seems that has now been confirmed. Speaking to a Finnish newspaper, Nokia's Marko Anasari said that he's currently spending about one-third of his time working on a tablet. He didn't say if the device would be running Windows 8, but obviously it would be, considering Nokia's strong relationship with Microsoft. This, of course, corroborates a DigiTimes report earlier in the week that we talked about, which said that Nokia would release a Windows 8 dual-core tablet by year's end, or at least soon after the operating system was released. No surprise there, Nokia with a lot in terms of the Windows 8 game and the Windows Phone game and the Windows Mobile game. So not really a surprise at all that they would be releasing a Windows 8 tablet. Lenovo, though, the Windows 8 tablet space gets a little more crowded because we've heard from Dell, and Dell said the minute the software is released, we're going to release a tablet. We've heard from Nokia that says, a couple months after the software is released, we're going to release a tablet. And now we hear from Lenovo that they have said, and this is according to The Verge, that on the exact day Windows 8 is released and ships to customers, we will release a tablet. They believe that will be in October, which would not be a surprise. Historically speaking, Windows releases are released in October, so that wouldn't be anything new. And they said it would use an Intel chip. Other than that, The Verge has no other details to add. However, it seems like the Windows 8 tablet space is getting a little more crowded, and with some pretty decent makers as well. Nokia is known for good devices. Dell's known for solid hardware. Lenovo kind of a little more up and coming, but still known for decent hardware. And we can get maybe an idea of what it'll look like. There was a 13.3-inch Lenovo IdeaPad Yoga that was pictured at CES that could turn 360 degrees down into a keyboard and turn into a laptop configuration. That might be something we might see from Lenovo with Windows 8 on it. We don't know. HP, Nokia, Asus, and others are all vying for a piece of this action, but the Windows 8 tablet space getting very, very crowded. Released today is a study from Strategy Analytics that says, quote, almost 90% of existing smartphone owners surveyed chose a prototype smartphone with a display larger than their current device. So what they essentially did was they said, current smartphone owners, come in here, choose a device that appeals to you, and 90% of them picked one with a larger screen. This trend is driven by increased mobile web browsing capability, as well as engaging video and gaming experiences. They discovered that the sweet spot for a device in terms of screen size is between 4 and 4.5 inches diagonal, which is not really a surprise. I bring this up for no other reason than to stir the rumor mill for iPhone 5, because the iPhone obviously sitting at a screen smaller than that sweet spot, and you would expect that they would release a device with a bigger screen, which would change the form factor of the phone, which is something Apple seems to be a little leery of lately, but certainly something that would probably need to happen. If 90% of consumers say, we want a smartphone with a bigger screen, you kind of have no choice but to comply with that. And finally, today in mobile news, finding the biggest domestic mobile manufacturers and operators guilty of colluding to fix prices and defraud customers, South Korea's Fair Trade Commission, or the FTC, has slapped Samsung, LG, and the country's operators with a combined 45.3 billion won, which translates to about $40.1 million total in fines. Obviously, not a huge deal, $40 million in U.S. dollars. Well, combined is a good chunk of change, but split up individually among the businesses isn't that big of a deal. The biggest hit is going to be Samsung with 14.2 billion won, or $12.6 million. Some of Korea's cell operators received the biggest fines with $17.9 million. In total, 209 handsets were marked up by Samsung, LG, and Pantech. The watchdog found operators guilty of offering discounts on products that were already incredibly expensive. So the assertion here is that these companies were basically working together to offer this technology and these handsets at much, much higher prices than what they actually were supposed to be at, and then discounted them, giving the illusion that the consumer was getting a deal while still making a hefty profit on them. That is all your tech and social media news for today, Thursday, March 15th, 2012. Check us out at redtie.tv/TD. You can follow us on Twitter at TechDailyRTM, hashtag TechDaily for conversation in the show. We will expand and elaborate on all of these topics and so much more on the next episode of Status Update, coming at you Sunday, March 18th at 7 p.m. at live.redtie.tv. Check that show out at redtie.tv/SU. Follow me on Twitter at Jacob Bodner. Until tomorrow, have a good evening.